Sometimes the things that I do. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everybody. Welcome to happy hour. Welcome to happy hour. Hopefully you have whatever it is that you want to partake in. So here we go. So here's happy hour. There's my glass of wine. So welcome everybody and thank you so much for joining me. Just came in to say hi. We are going to go look at lights. Have fun. Have fun. So there you go. Welcome. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers to everybody. Cheers. I'll have a sip. Oh, it's not really the best wine in the world, but when you take that sip and it's just like, oh, that's what it did to me. I went, oh. So let me see. Well, no, I'm terrible at this stuff. It should, and I am on. So there we go. I missed last week, but I'm here today. Right on, right on. Have fun looking at the lights. I'd love to go look at lights, but I think Mr. Tracy's already in bed. And it's only what, 6:30. That's the whole thing. It's only 6:30. So, and there are some beautiful lights out there. I mean, there's one house that we have here in Calgary that is just beautifully lit up and beautifully done up. And it's up on a hill. It's in a nicer part of Calgary, that's for sure. So, but yeah. So here we are. I have a couple. Yes. Oh, you do them on Christmas Eve. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. My grandson's gone to his dad's this weekend. So he's at his dad's, and then he goes next week to his dad's because they celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. So they have he's Spanish, and so that's part of their tradition. So he's going to go there, and then it works out because then he gets dropped off here on Christmas morning, and then we are going to pack up the car with everything and go over to my daughter's and cook. We're going to have Christmas lunch tomorrow, and have Christmas lunch and not so much Christmas dinner because I think my youngest has to go somewhere. So anyways, that's what we're going to do. And I don't use my dishwasher. She uses her dishwasher. So might as well go where there's a dishwasher, right? So yes. Tell us a story, Mama. Wow, Lexi, I got a couple stories for you tonight. So one is on Elf on the Shelf. I think that's what they call it. I do have an elf on the shelf, but I set him out and he sits and that's it. He doesn't do anything else. He's not allowed to leave the place that he's at. Now, Elf on the Shelf, if I can speak properly right now, I only had one sip. Like maybe if I have two, it'll be a little bit better. And then I'll get to your guys' readings. I have 3 readings tonight so far. So, Elf on the Shelf, it was started, I believe, in 2005. Now, let me do my little Google search and I'll get you the name. Now, Elf on the Shelf started or created. So, Elf on the Shelf was created. I hate that Bing has taken over Google. It really pisses me off. The Elf on the Shelf was started as a scout for Santa Claus, okay? And he scouts out and he reports back to Santa on how the children are behaving. Now, there was a book, I believe, that came out with this in 2005. And in 2005, um, when this book came out, it was a storybook with a little elf and had 5,000 copies. 5,000 copies. And it sold. And right now, it started by a girl, Carol Abersold, and her daughter, Chanda Bell, um, who, like Chanda, I think, came in. And then there's also the other sister, Krista Pitts, self-published the book and it sold. So it started in 2005. Have a great time. And this has become a huge tradition, like a huge tradition. Now, we didn't have Elf on the Shelf with my children. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of Elf on the Shelf, and it was, not Elf on the Shelf. We had a belt on the shelf. Uh, and some people were like, "Oh my God." But it wasn't Elf on the Shelf. We were just told that if you didn't go to bed on time, if you didn't behave, you just weren't going to get presents and you'd get coal. Now, the story I have for you. Now, the thing is, elf is an elf, right? An elf. An elf is a part of the Fey realm, right? So the elves are part of the Fey realm. Now, being a part of the Fey realm, this woman, this story came from when she was little, of a story about an elf. Now, she had an elf when she was little. And this story came from that. Now, my theory, like doing something that you are working with magical creatures, okay, per se. So if you're doing something with magical creatures, elves, fairies, and stuff like that, and you have them, and then you decide that you are wanting to do something, it's like almost where the fairies put an idea to her. Now, in doing that idea, this is allowing that the fairies are able to come into all the houses. Usually, when you're dealing with elves and fairies, yes, you do have fae in the house, but a lot of times you bring them in. And if they cause too much havoc, you're able to let them go. You get rid of them in some way, or you ask them to leave. Now, this elf is actually brought into the home every single year to be able to keep an eye on your children. Hmm, what an elfy thing to do. And this elfie tradition has to do with I'm going to say, a deal that was made in order for her to have the elf in the homes. And the deal was, I'll do a book out. I'll write about you. I'll write about this scout that goes around to Santa. We're going to get on Santa in a minute too. And with the elf to be in everybody's house. And in doing that, you will grow each and every year to a point where right now, I could not find the profits for 2022, which was quite interesting because the last time the profits were that how much money they earned from this was over in one, and this is this is just Christmas time that they make money. It's like Mariah Carey, right? Over $65 million, and that was in 2015. Now to get licensing and everything else, I mean, they were in the Santa Claus Parade in New York. Macy's has licensing to them, so they get to sell part of that licensing. Plus, they still get money from that. There's clothes for your elf on the shelf. There's a boy and a girl, and I think there's a black one. I don't know if there's an Asian one. There's probably going to be an Asian one. They're in over 53 countries around the world, this little elf. And they sell, of course, you can Google right now what kind of things your elf can do. I've seen, what was it? poop corn where he's holding the holding the popcorn, and then it comes out holding a corn, and then little kernels of popcorn come out the other end right by his butt. All kinds of things I've seen where, um and right down to kids just freaking out because they're not allowed to touch the elf, right? And these kids just freak out if one of the other kids touch it and things like that. So that's very much the Fae. That's the Fae doing that, and plus having an elf in your house. Um, in Norway, and I think in Finland, I think in Iceland too, but in different of the Norwegian countries, there is where you can, if you are wanting to get rid of the house elf in your house, because house elves can cause a lot of havoc in people's homes, and there is a person you could call, and it's a job actually to get rid of the house elf in your house. It's not like the house. It's not like Dobby, like the little elf that you see on Harry Potter. No, it's not like that. This is a little bit more um havoc, let's say. And now they're able to come in and they have control of your house over Christmas time. And they get to report back to this jolly old man named Santa. Now, Santa Claus is interesting. People say that he comes from Odin, and there is some, I think, similarities, but Odin doesn't uh Odin doesn't leave out gifts for children. Odin is in Nordic um pagan religion. Odin is the god. He's the big dude, right? He's the overall one. And he does have a sleigh, but it's not driven by reindeer. There is where you have Sinterklaas, and Sinterklaas is in Sweden, and where you leave your shoes out, and he would give you gifts of candy and money and stuff, like that, and also of Saint Nicholas. And Saint Nicholas was German. He wore green, actually, not red. Green and blue were the colors that he wore, not red. Um, and he would help out those that were less fortunate. And his folk, I mean, you can look into this more, but part of his for St. Nicholas was actually he helped out a poor family who had three daughters, and to get married back in the, I think it was the 15th or 14th century, you needed a dowry. Basically, the women needed a dowry, and the dad did not have a dowry for his daughters to marry. So St. Nicholas left money for those who needed the money to help their daughters to get married, to have a dowry. And that was the legend of St. Nicholas, and leaving the socks by the fireplace, because the reason why you left them is that you cleaned them at night, because usually people would only have one pair of socks, and you'd hang them by the fire so they would dry and you could wear them in the morning. And so he'd put things into the socks, so that the people would wake up in the morning and St. Nicholas came in, and he usually came in through the front door. He didn't go down a chimney. So there you go. Let's have another one. So there are some of the little bit of folklore. Now let's get a little bit more into Santa Claus and thinking about Santa Claus. And I was listening to someone, and it just like clicked, very much so. Now there was I think it was on Prime, and it was something about the old gods and things like that, and talking about the old gods, and it's a awesome movie. Anyway, me remembering actors and stuff like that, but basically he was Odin. His name, he went through the series called, and he was called Wednesday. Well, Wednesday is another name for Odin. um and it's funny because when first started watching it, and my kids like, Wednesday, why is his name Wednesday? I said, because he's Odin. I said, he's one of the old gods, and he's come down, and he's gathering all the other gods for a war. And so there is going to be a war on the new gods. But so talking about gods and some of the newer gods, Santa Claus is an American god. If you think about Santa Claus. Well, he's omnipresent. Now, omnipresent means that he can be in one place at more than once, just like the angels. Angels are omnipresent. When you believe in a god is omnipresent. He can be here with me, he can be here with you, he can be anywhere in the world, right? So he is omnipresent. And plus, the thing is that judgment is always left up to God, to the higher realms, right? So here we have a God who has a checklist. Are you good or bad? Naughty or nice? Checking it twice. Going to make sure who's naughty or nice. That's left up to a God. Now there is a to make a God, to have a God, you have to have a popular belief. And a popular belief in something that is magical. He's able to go here and there and everywhere and create a magical belief, create a well-being. When you believe in Santa, you're creating well-being, you're creating that gift giving, you're creating that of wanting to help people, wanting to help the less fortunate. Like here we got this Christmas energy, and we have Santa Claus, and we have secret Santas, and we have people who want to make sure that hampers for those who need hampers, giving to families, to the elderly, to all of this all happens, and many times they call it Secret Santa. So it's like where this Santa Claus, and then every god has an adversary, in Christianity, the adversary is Satan, right? Every god has an adversary, right? And who is Santa Claus's adversary? Krampus. I mean, he is the Satan that comes around to scare the children and take them away and eat them. You know, it's kind of scary. And if you ever looked at Krampus, the thing is that when people say, and they're like, "Oh, yes, we're gonna have Krampus at our at our Yuletide market." I'm like, "No, no, I'm not a Krampus fan, really. I'm not. Just the whole idea of him. I'm not a Krampus fan. Well, we can't believe in Santa Claus because he's a Christian thing. Santa Claus has nothing to do with Christianity. He's totally out. He's totally on the other. He has nothing to do with Christianity. It's just that his energy, or the idea of Santa Claus, is the idea of bringing good cheer and love and giving to others. That's what it is. So I'm going to call Santa Claus an American god, and chuck him up to be an American god. So that's there's a couple of my stories right there for you, Lexi. So this is where it's interesting when you start looking into a lot of the folklore of around Christmas, and the energy and the idea of what Christmas is. Where Christmas, when we have the Yuletide. Now, Yuletide now has been very popular because of Wicca. Wicca's brought in the Yuletide to be right on the winter solstice. And the winter solstice is when the sun is still. The sun goes into Capricorn, and the sun, when it goes into Capricorn, it doesn't move. It sort of hovers for at least 3 days, 3 to 4 days, until the sun starts to move higher into the sky again, right? That's what it does. So when you have the summer solstice, or the winter, and same with the summer solstice, it stands still and then it starts to decline, right? Because you get less and less sunlight every single day from the summer solstice until it comes up to the equinox for the winter solstice, and then it starts to climb, and it starts getting lighter and lighter, and it's usually in around 3 to 4 days afterwards, which would be around the 25th, which is also around the time when they used to celebrate in Rome Saturnian, which is Saturn, and the energy of Saturn and giving, and that's when in the Roman times that the celebration would happen, and your slaves would be equal to you, and sometimes you'd be serving your slaves, and that was a day of freedom in that. So very much partying, and they tried to get rid of it. When Christianity came in, they tried to get rid of the Saturnian holiday, which was usually anywhere between the 21st to the 25th. So they, a lot of things they just adapt it to bring them into the fold, into the Christian fold. So the adapting and adding into um this season, and bringing in the cheer, the good cheer, and Santa Claus being the new American God, and allowing, just stepping into it. And then, of course, now we have Elf on the Shelf. What is it? He's the scout of Santa. Of course. What doesn't God have scouts? Doesn't God have angels going back and seeing how you're doing? Makes you kind of think when certain things start to become popular, and you sort of start taking a look around, and you're like, "Oh, why is that so popular?" Because the only reason I got an Elf on the Shelf was because I was at Michael's, and you spent so much money, you got an Elf on the Shelf at that time. I think it was 2018 or something. And I was like, "Okay." And I brought him home, and then he sat there. I didn't appease the gods with him at all. But I am a Santa Claus fan. I do collect Santa Clauses, so I do have a lot of Santa Clauses. You don't have one in your house either. You're not appeasing the elves. So, and plus I thought, like, "Oh my god, that's a lot of work." Like, that's a lot of work, man, to do that. And that's when you got yours, yeah. And he just sort of sits there with a bunch of other with some Santa Clauses that I have. So, because I love the idea of what Santa Claus is, and the energies of Santa Claus. Um, so he's one of my, when it comes to Christmas, is him. Like, putting that up, and then I do have some nativity scenes around my home too as well. And that energy of the nativity scene of bringing light. And what brings more light than a child, right? A newborn child bringing such great light. But I mean, Jesus wasn't the only one. If you look at December, there's a few Greek gods, and I think there's a Norse god that was born around that time as well. So, there's a lot, when you start looking into the different history, and you're looking into the different mythology of how these sort of intertwine, and how we bring them into our celebration, and why we bring them into the celebration. It's like a lot of things that, certain religions do, um and say, like not eating pork, and the reasoning being for why they don't eat pork, and they'll say, well, it's biblical and stuff. Well, it says you don't eat crayfish or shellfish either. But that had to do is because people would have a poison reaction to it. I mean, if there was a riptide and stuff like that, or a red tide, this shellfish would get in I guess infected, and you could die. You could get poisoned if they weren't cleaned properly, if they weren't cooked properly. That's the same way with pork. If pork is not cooked properly, you can get extremely sick, right? So that's one of the reasons. Circumcisions, the reasons they have circumcisions is because they lived in a desert, and boys are fucking nasty, and they don't know how to clean themselves. So it was like, it wasn't God coming down and saying, "Oh, you gotta cut that foreskin off." No, it was basically because they weren't cleaning themselves properly, and they would get infection. So they found it's like, okay, best we do it as a child, as an infant, than when you're doing it as, say, when kids start getting little stiffies, you know? So there's a lot of different things that were written or said, um, that don't hold up to today, and either today's way of living, today's um we don't live in deserts. Most boys do clean themselves. They know how to pull it out of their house and clean it well. Some don't, and then off to the doctor they get. Um, so, so there's things that we in that we've incorporated. Bringing trees, we're going to move away from the stiffies to trees. Bringing trees, I'm pointing over here, and I don't have a tree in my house, but having a tree in your house, or greenery, bringing the greenery into your house, was because it was so dark, right? You wanted to bring in the liveliness. What was blooming at that time? Well, mistletoe was blooming, and so was holly. You had the white and the red berries, so let's bring them in. And to brighten up our home. And mistletoe would last, and same with holly, for a long time. So the colors would last, and that brightness in your home would last for quite some time. So bringing that greenery in, and that's was very much a German, from the German pagans, and Christianity too. So the symbolism of new life and stuff like that. So that kind of like sort of paganism with Christianity kind of meet together, and then decorating the tree, and then putting the baubles and everything else on the tree became very much a German tradition. And Queen Victoria's husband brought it to England, and then Queen Victoria brought it as to have for everybody to have a Christmas tree. Like, she really promoted having a Christmas tree during the Victorian era, and that's why Christmas trees started to come into people's homes. And then when people moved to North America, Christmas trees weren't really in people's home until about the middle 1800s, early 1900s. Then you started seeing more of a Christmas tree in people's homes. They didn't have it before at all. So they didn't really have Christmas trees before then. They would have some greenery in the home. So having some form of greenery in the home, which was kind of cool. So there's so much. I know I'm sort of like skimming the top for a lot of this, because there's a lot there. There's a lot of looking at the different folklore, looking at the lights, looking at all of what the symbolism is, and bringing that the light, bringing the greenery, because greenery is like new growth, knowing that through the winter there is going to be a spring, right? It's like knowing that there is going to be a change, there is something new on the horizon, and this is bringing in that newness, and that hope, and that desire for that to come in to your realm and into your home. And you want to bring that to your home. You want to bring that, right? So cool. And Christmas is one of my favorite times of year. I love all the seasons, I really do, but Christmas is I like the idea of family. I like the idea of sharing food, just going out, looking at the lights. I love window shopping. I get stressed out over gift giving. It's the extra cost, and I think that part of the Christmas and has really gotten, and every year we say it's gotten out of hand, but with how things are evolving and moving, I Christmas is evolving and moving differently too, and it's evolving into something that is, I think, bringing in more of a reminder of for us to really shine our light, and to really continue to shine our light in what we do and say, and how we approach our life, and how we approach our world. And especially, part of my peek into 2024, I talk about that because 2024 is going to be a huge year Like, I mean, the last few years have been crazy and hectic, but this is really going to, like, when it comes to frequencies, when it comes to um like the solar flare that just hit, or is hitting this weekend, it's that solar storm was considered an X2 something, right? Very rare, like very rare, like very rare for something like that to happen. Like solar flares are solar storms are rated, right? And the X is like one of the big ones. And they've been happening more frequently, right? And within this more frequently, like this is where there's been there was airplanes that lost their navigational and radio control cannot talk to some airplanes because of the solar flare. There is also, well, I don't know if that happened, but Brooklyn lost power. A transistor blew up. So Brooklyn, New York lost power yesterday and I think part of today too. So people were stuck in um they were stuck in elevators. There were, for backup generators, some backup generators weren't working and it was quite crazy, to say the least. They haven't said exactly why this happened, but I'm thinking this happened right around the solar flare. So with solar flares happening, I mean, this could be also where, the baddies can come in and do things too, because I think they have just as much knowledge about understanding the solar flares and that, and really utilize them in some format, in some way. Plus, with some of the alignments that are coming up um, in 2024, are going to be bringing in, and especially with Pluto going into Aquarius in January, a huge a backdrop for frequency changes. So when it comes to our frequency changes and um how we move and how we manifest and the whole bit is not the same ways we're doing it now. Now, if you've heard about the Mandela effect, um that's kind of showing you where split is happening. There's a split, there's a change, there is a transformation, there's a transference of energy that's coming through. And I'm just using the Mandela effect as an example to all of that, right? So yeah, so here we have, who do we have? Okay, Holly. Hello, Holly. All right, so Holly, thank you. Let's see what's coming up for little Holly. You're a busy lady, with while you have 4 children. You work part-time. So there's a lot on your plate that's happening. But I keep on thinking, like, 2024 is going to be really a year that's going to bring in some um I'm going to say changes, or some sort of changes, but I know, but I got big changes, like big movements within your life. Right now, I feel like you're feeling everything stale. It's okay. I'm just going through the motions, but it's almost where you are, it's like there's something there and you're just trying to push it out of the way. And you're the word is over focused on it, like you're over focused on whatever the obstacle is. There's an obstacle there, and I feel like it's more of an energetic obstacle, like you think that this is stopping you, so you're putting a lot of emphasis on it, um where you're wanting to move forward, but then your mind goes to all the muggle things and the muggle parts, um like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or this isn't working. It's just um all the different, it's like negative thoughts, or the negative thoughts that come in. And the Temperance came in, but she's reversed. So the Temperance is coming in, and this is where you feel as though things are not moving forward despite your efforts and desires. So what is missing? Are you obsessed over something that is taking over you at this time? Is there something areas of your life feeling like, so take some time to look at it, right? So this, being reversed, usually she's a happy mixologist and she says, "Ooh, what are you putting in your gin fizz today, darling?" And this is like, no, it's like perhaps you will have to let go of something or make some kind of sacrifice in order to create room. Now, when I say sacrifice, that really freaks people out because they're thinking, "Oh my God, it's this if I make a sacrifice, I'm going to be so poor," or whatever it is. But making a sacrifice, now here it is. It's not that you're going to be poor, but let's say, okay, to make a sacrifice, meaning that, like me, okay, my sacrifice would be not to go to Starbucks every day anymore, or basically, you know, uh, not to go to not to go to Starbucks. That would be a sacrifice. That's a sacrifice for me. What would be that sacrifice? Would be, oh, I got to get up early because I got to go to the gym. There's a sacrifice of your sleep kind of thing, right? Not to buy smokes anymore. Right. So there's a sacrifice. And switching it up with something else. So instead of buying the smokes, where am I going to put the money? I can always come up with however much cigarettes are. I don't know, $10, $30, $50. I have no idea. So whatever that sacrifice is, right? And then you're saying, okay, I can always come up with that money. Oddly enough, even though I don't have it. That's the thing. We can always find it when we say we don't have it, but we always have it for that. So that could be something else that you have to look at. And that's where this comes in. So when this is coming in, it's like it reminds us of the universal harmony and synergy of all matter. There is a synergy. This is where amnezite, blue kyanite, and blue lace agate are really nice. I'll repeat that. Amnezite, blue kyanite, and blue lace agate are very good to work with when you are looking at making changes, because you're going to be working with the throat chakra, you're going to be working with the energies, you're going to be working with the thyroid. This is where it's like, are what you are obsessing over, or something that is taking over areas of your life, and now you're ready to let them go. You got to look at what's taking over my life. What is it that I absolutely have to have? And I know I'm done. I'm done with it. So the Temperance is coming in, and that's where I feel your big move for 2024 is going to be working with that obstacle, working with what that is. And for you got to think of the reasoning why do I do it? What has it done for me? Right? You got to put down the benefits, because whatever we're looking at giving away, or sacrificing, letting go of, we have to look at what it has done for us and what it has given to us. And when we look at that, then we can release it and say thank you, and do the Ho'onoponopono. Ho'onoponopono, Ho'onoponopono, Ho'onoponopono. Thank you. I love you. I forgive you. I'm setting you free. I'm letting this go. I'm no longer I'm no longer needing you. Right? And this is what I need to, replace it with. I'm replacing it with whatever it is, you know. And the thing is like a lot of times when we are doing that, not to beat yourself up, and this is also, is there a community that can help you? And looking at what that community um looks like for you, that can give you that helping hand. So, and that's going to bring in the balance for you. Okay. There you go. All right. Now, Cynthia, I didn't even know Cynthia's here. I know she just texted me. I'm just going to say thank you. So there we go. Let her know that I'm live. So there. Oh, you're very, very welcome, Holly. Very welcome. So for those who are just joining me and you're wondering what I'm doing mini readings for $10. Oh, there she is. She popped in. Look at that cutie patootie down there. My little Cancer. Hold on. Getting it all in. I think for for Cynthia's, I need another drink. Wow. As soon as I said that, it took me back to when I actually first met Cynthia. And it was at I think it was at Terry Lynn's place, a friend of ours, a friend, home, and she had a party, and yeah, definitely, they're $10, $10 a reading, and I think Cynthia and I basically, and Steve and we were there for a long time, but we connected very, very well that night. It was a fun night. I think Owen was there too. I think Terry Lynn's husband was teaching my son at the time, Owen, who was very young, how to be a bartender. Yes, it was a barbecue. It was beautiful. It was really nice. There's a lot of beautiful people there, great connection. Lots of fun. A lot of fun. So you and Mike were going out for a little bit at that time too. There we go. So that was fun. I have history. What do we have here? Ooh. I picked it up this way. Now I can pick it up with my left hand, or I can pick it up and move it with my right hand. Which hand, Cynthia, do you want me to pick the card up with? Do you want me to move it with my left, or do you want me to move it with my right? So I need her to let me know if she wants me to do the right or the left. The right, this is right. This is left. Left. This is my left. I'll say my left. So this is the left. And it's the King of Pentacles upright. Going to my left. Woo! Nice choice, girl. So we have the King of Pentacles. What is the King of Pentacles? Well, the King of Pentacles he's the king, man. He is the OG. He is the one who wants to make things happen. He is married to the queen who loves very fine things. This is the king that is coming in, and he knows his stuff. This is where it's coming in and wanting you to look at how can you connect with your dreams. This is where, how can I harness and focus the energy to manifest my goals freely? So in comes this king, and he wants to open the doorways. He's like, it's like these big doors are coming in, and he's opening up these big doors. And now the doors that I feel like he's opening are these big solid oak doors that are going to a grand room, and he wants to open these doors. And this king is a maverick, and who's extremely capable, and he's ahead of his time. He's ambitious, he's dedicated, and he's highly successful because he's worked hard for what he's done. He has wisdom, and he's keen, and he wants material stability. Now, being a lovely, cancers love stability. That's one thing. They want a home. They want the stability. They can panic about their home very easily, but here's these doors that I feel, and he's there, and he's pushing them open because they're heavy doors, right? and these heavy doors are opening up. Now, this is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is Capricorn. That's opposite you. Okay. Pluto's at the end of Capricorn. That means he's getting you to look at all of the structures that you have created since 2008. So you're looking at your structures, you're looking at that of what you have created, of what it is that you are wanting to do. Some have worked, some haven't worked, some have aligned, some haven't aligned. Some have been, others have been, oh. This is coming in and saying, okay, you know what? I need to really look at a guide who will offer new direction and sound advice. This is where to point to a person, a place of authority, such as a mentor or a guide that can help you and give you the advice and sound advice of what it is that you are wanting to do. Now, this could be if you are wanting to change your career in some way, or you are wanting to make yourself more financially stable in some way, and be that financial stability is like, where can I go to learn this? And it's not from university, it's not from a college. This is like somebody like an innovator, somebody who is um they have highly sensitive but a deep connection. So there's somebody who has a very deep connection with who they are, a deep connection with the earth, right? So they're not somebody who's um like, you don't get fooled by their exterior. So the exterior, if they come off flashy and, look at me, I'm suave, I got all the money, I got, like a JP Morgan, like if they come out too suave, then it's like, because, the king's coming in and saying, asking you to get a clear vision of your future. So this is the king of to get things crystal clear and what it is that you are wanting to receive and the prosperity and the abundance. So this is where you have to start really making a list, checking it twice, and going through this, like, this is what I want to create. This is what I want, and this is what I want to start doing. When you start looking at that and you start learning, this is learning something new. So it's like where I'm going to take Eckhart Tolle, because Eckhart Tolle in our time is like, he's beautifully written. He has fabulous books, but the momentum and the energies of where the new earth is coming into, it is taking new knowledge, and where, like, the secret and all of that's I mean, yes, it works, and yes, there is, I'm going to say a formula to it, but there is this newness, this new energy, this new learning that's coming through of divine light, of delivering the word, of coming through, of you stepping forward in this and creating that within your values, because in there is also Taurus. So you have the bull. The bull is wanting to bring forth stability. Again, it's a fixed sign, right? So Taurus is a fixed sign. But Cancer is a cardinal sign. It's newness, it's innovative, it wants to move forward. It doesn't want to stay still. Cancers aren't a stay still sign, although a lot of people think they are. But they are a sign that wants to move. They're ruled by the moon. The moon does not stay still, right? The moon takes 2 to 2.5 days in every sign. It doesn't take, sort of take its time moving through. It wants to feel, it wants to, move. And here we have this sun or this moon that's coming through a lot of transits. It's, connections with Pluto right now. And then it's going to move on and it's going to go through Aquarius. From Aquarius, then it's going to square off to Venus. What are your values? What are your internal values with this newness, this new way of thinking, the new laws? The new laws aren't man laws. This isn't man laws. This is new laws. New laws are like with community, how you're connecting. It's coming to the earthly realm again because it's earth, it's pentacles. So it's the earth realm, right? And how you are bringing those values and beliefs into this realm, into this newness that brings you, nobody else, like brings you, well, and your family, that stability and guidance that you are wanting to have. So this is very much can be pragmatic, because Earth does not move very fast, but we have Uranus that's there, and Uranus coming in. Whew, we have, and then we have a Jupiter Uranus conjunction next year. Holy fucking shit. I mean, the energy of that's going to be coming in March is going to be earthquakey. There's going to be movements, there's going to be shaking. Now that's the physical shake of the earth and what's going to be going on in the electrical charge. This is now coming into for you personally. What are those earth shaking moves and electrical charges you want to make within your own life, and how you want to implement them. So you're reading new things, how you implementing that. You're learning something. How am I going to put this to how am I going to make this work? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Okay. Because it's almost, and that's that electrical charge, that vibrance energy that's coming through for you. So it is a lot of movement. It's very electrical, that of the movements that are coming in for you. And it's looking at how they align with your values, because the values that you have will be changing, right? And the beliefs and how you see things will be changing. So that's going to be very, very important. So there you go, my dear. Okay. Who do we have next? Virginia. And then I think we have Andrea and Greg. So hello, everybody who's just joined. Thank you for joining Happy Hour. And I have a little glass of wine here. I've been taking little sips on it. It hasn't been refilled. So we have Virginia. Hey, Virginia. Ooh, nice. 3 of Wands. I love this, the 3 of Wands. It is the 3 of Wands has to do with passion, has to do with movements and the passion of moving where you want to go. Hey, so with the 3 of Wands, let's get into the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is about the future and looking into the future. So if you look at the card, it's very much he's looking into the future. He's, this is where a determination to walk your own path, be true to your heart. So here we come with the 3 of Wands. It's indicating a state of awareness. It is embarking on a new journey. What is that journey? Where am I going? This is what I truly envision my future to be. It's you gaining momentum in achieving your dreams. So we're coming into this movement and this momentum. Now, I know you're a Scorpio, and we have Pluto going into Aquarius, and it'll be in Aquarius for most of the year next year. So when it's in Aquarius, the biggest thing is not to lose your momentum, because anything in Aquarius, well, anything in the fixed signs basically square, like all the fixed signs square each other or they're opposite. So there's an opposition or a square. So right now there's an opposition, Jupiter and Uranus, which goes off and squares over to Aquarius, then squares down to Scorpio. That gives you a massive T square. That T square is having you really look at, what are my challenges that I have? What are my oppositions that I have to begin to create? Now, Jupiter's there. Jupiter wants to expand, it wants to give, it wants to show you what is it in this world that you want. Pluto going into Aquarius is like, okay, there is so much there for you, like, and how you want to connect to it, how you want to do it. This is not necessarily about taking risk. Like the 3 of Wands is not about taking risk, but rather it highlights those moments when you study the path ahead in order to know exactly what it is that you want. This is looking at, it's like saying, it's like being the admiral of the ship, and he's plotting out the course, right, of where he's going to, the journey's going to take them, right? And so as he's doing this, it's not like he's just going to go out there. He's got to wait for the tide to come in, so the tide is high enough in order for the ship to go out, being able to know where the currents are and understanding the currents. So this is understanding the dynamics in that of your life that's happening around you, and knowing that, okay, things are changing within my life. There's things within me physically that are changing. So there's a physical change within you that is saying that there are parts and there's things in my life that I have limitations to, and I have to respect those limitations of who I am. And this is in order to know exactly what tools or resources will be essential to your journey. So this is looking at your strengths and looking at certain things that are coming into preparedness. So if it has to do with health, so limitations, if you have limitations with how your body functions or how you do things, then we look at, well, what are the tools here that I can utilize in order to help me upon my journey, right? So, and it's like, okay, I can, oh, there is a got like a memory class, or there's these different exercises I can do that's going to help to strengthen me, so I can have the determination to do more of the things that I that align with me. And some of the things that align with me is like, okay, maybe I don't want to take on fully the responsibility of being my own business owner, okay, and having my own business. Maybe I don't want to take that on. Maybe that's not part of the journey, but maybe part of the journey is looking at different ways that you can be an entrepreneurial without taking on fully all of those crazy responsibilities. And this is where you look at the preparedness. This is where you look at where you are wanting to go and how you are ready to embark on that journey. So it's not like you're going to go out the door and just start now. This is really starting to plan and start to look at, okay, you know what? I'm going to give myself 5 months, and this is what this is my plan of action that I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself X amount of time, and this is what my plan is to do. So looking at that, because the momentum is there, it's coming in, it wants to show you, it wants to move you, it's wanting to bring in your dreams and your desires. But remember that you have to allow that. It may not always look the way that you want it to look, it may not always be the way that you think it should be. So this is where it's like, I need to know what it takes to get things done, and also my higher state of awareness, to be in my higher state of awareness, because I'm doing this and I'm coming in from my heart center of the direction I want to go into. And that means it could change in a different, in a way And it's like almost where it's now I got you stuck. Okay, I want to get you unstuck. Where you feel like, well, I have to sort of stay here because of this and that and that. But this is like, okay, this is where you are right now. Doesn't mean that you're going to be stuck there in 6 months from now. So this is where it's like, coming in and saying, okay, what are the things that I need to gather in my toolbox or my toolkit? And I've seen that you've posted some things and you're at I think the Kirby Center and you did a market there and stuff. And so hey, it's starting, some momentum's coming in there. There's a newness, there's a new direction that's coming in there. And there could be something that you're going to be teaching, something that you're going to be doing. Maybe there's something to do with the skirts that you're going to be teaching. What does it mean? What does a ribbon skirt mean? What is it? Why do we put ribbons on the skirt? Maybe there's a class, maybe there's something there that you're going to be taking more of a new direction with, and then getting involved with that community, getting involved with that part of the education, a part of the learning, a part of the expansion. And this is going to give you that momentum. And when you study the path ahead, in order to know exactly what tools, because there's going to be certain tools that you're going to be needing in order to teach this, in order to show this, to implement it. And this could be like, oh, well, maybe I want to go into a school, and teach it in a different way and teach some of these kids some of traditions and what these traditions are and what they mean. So I feel like there's this new, like there's ideas that are there, but we want to kind of like write them out and then sort of put a plan underneath with them and then look at what are the steps I need to do to implement that. So hopefully that makes sense to you, Virginia. But I feel like because there's a lot there that's happening and that it's evolving. And as you go around to one, there's another one. And it's a chain and they all are linked together. And it forms something that is very strong and very doable for you. So that's going to be very important. But also looking at, okay, there may be some limitations. Respecting your limitations, and that's part of your healing, because I feel like you're still healing in a lot of ways from everything. So there's a lot of healing you're still going through, and respecting that healing within you, respecting that healing that's within you, and what that means and what that looks like for you. So, but yeah, so there you go. I'm like, hey, they just turned. It's like almost when I'm doing a reading, and then I'm like, I'm gonna say something, and then it's like the tap gets turned off. I'm like, nope, you're done. I'm like, oh, okay. There's nothing more I can say. So very nice, very nice. So Andrea. So Andrea, are you still here, or are you gone? It's kind of sweet, tarty taste. It was one that was on sale. The one that I was having before that was on sale was really, really good. And then it's not on sale anymore, and it went back up to $30. I'm so sad. I buy cheap wine. Andrea, are you here? Hello, 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 hello. Let's see if she's out and about. Hey, Andrea, are you here? Andrea. Let's see. Because I can't really text her. Ooh. Hello. Oh, you're there. Okay. You're there. All right, because nobody's responding. Computer issues. Okay, gotcha. So you buy yours in a box. No problem. Box wines are very popular in France. Did you know that? Just a little FYI for you guys. But I think box wines in France are a lot different than box wines here in Canada. Plus, their wines are cheaper. You can get a really, really good bottle of wine for cheap. So buying wine is like buying water over there in France. Maybe that's why I get pulled. Oh, there goes my psycho dog. Oh, she's just driving me nuts lately. And it's amazing. Like she can jump. Like you would think this dog can jump. Like she jumps from I got a chair there, and about 2 feet away is the footstool, and another 3 feet away is the day bed. So she's just jumping around. I'm having trouble with my computer, and I never use YouTube. You guys got to get on YouTube, and you can watch Lalande and all the chateaus. Group trip to France. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah. I've been looking at chateaus lately again. And what you can get for a chateau and what you can get here in Canada. Like, oh my God. Like, I can get like 30 acres in and update it. They'll call chateau, and if it is a true chateau, it has a church on site, has a church, so a chapel. So you have the chateau, and some of them are like I don't know, like 30 rooms. I don't know what I do with 30 rooms, but hey, but update it the whole bit, updated kitchen, all the bit, has the heating, has all of that. 30 acres, and I think it was under $1 million, you know, and it just fabulous. And you have the walled garden. So then of course, if you have a walled garden in there, you have the 30, and some of it's forested. So then you have the trees and everything that you can use, and so for any of your wood burners and stuff. So oh man. Oh, you could put your vineyard depending on what part of France you're at, right? You know? So, depending on what it is. No, yeah, I know you don't have a chateau and you have your 40 acres and it's under 1,000,000, but I'm looking at like a castle. Uh, Like I want my castle, and I want the big rooms and the vaulted ceilings and the thick walls and the walled garden, and I can have somebody come in and take care of the chickens. There would be a little bit of I think there you would have to go there, and because you have to apply and everything else, same way with here. Although maybe if I went in there illegally, I wouldn't have as much problem. So let's start with a trip. Yes, let's start with a trip. So there's some things this year. 2024 is a year for a lot of things that of getting in order for my hubby and I, and then going from there. So, and I had a dream. I had a dream. I'll get to your reading, Andrea. I'll get to your reading, Andrea. I had a dream. Um, oh yeah, they do. There's tons. There's a couple that just bought. They're from Ontario, that bought a beautiful chateau in France. And there's a huge community of Brits that are there, that have been there for quite some time, that have bought chateaus. There's also where you could buy the manor houses, which is a little smaller than a chateau, and have lakes on there, and you stock the lakes, and a lot of people go there, and you for a week in that, and they're filled with the fish, and they go fishing and stuff like that. So they have and so you can go you can make it a business. So there's a lot of different things like, things like that. A chateau, you can make it into a bed and breakfast. For me, I would do more of having a bed and breakfast and events. I wouldn't do necessarily weddings. Weddings are a lot of work, and having to deal with a bride is a, something altogether different. But to have like different events that come in, and even having different retreats. One of the ones that they bought an old nunnery, and the chapel in there is just beautiful. And anyways, they're restoring it. Absolutely beautiful. When they're finished with it, they are able to, do the retreats and do whatever they want to do, and they have a place in the kitchen and everything else to facilitate that. Um, I don't know if I'd want to move to Greece. Greece has never aligned with me. It aligns with my daughter, and it's very beautiful and stuff. And, same with Italy. Parts of Italy, maybe, depending, I'd have to look at the different areas of Italy. Um, but always drawn to France or Britain or Ireland. Those are the three areas, or the Isle of Man. But to get onto the Isle of Man, a painting retreat, that would be very cool. Very cool. And plus you could go to the different brocamps, and the brocamps are which is treasures in my attic. That's what a brocamp basically means. And you could go to the different brocamps and to find antiques and things like that. And there's, and then there are ones that are like need a total reno, but I'm at a time where um it's beautiful, but the crazy taxes in Greece. Yeah. The taxes aren't to live in France is it is expensive, the food and everything. There's an expense there. Property and everything is cheap comparatively. Like even like Lalonde, it's still I just because where she's situated, and she's situated on 60 acres, is under $800,000. So if you've ever watched Chateau Diaries, it's estimated under $900,000 for that chateau. That chateau has, I think, because there's part of it that hasn't even been renoed yet. That has it's the old the maid quarters and stuff like that haven't been updated yet. But that's 800,000 euros, yeah, with 60 acres, fully with a lake. Um, yeah, so pretty cool. Pretty cool. Sign me up. Definitely. And the restrictions, the thing is too, is like the things that you can do more so, and then once you own it, you own it. There isn't the excess of taxes that you have to pay on it the same way that you would have to pay here in Canada, as well. It's once you have like being able to have it. Like I know the couple from Ontario that had moved to France. They sold their property for what they sold their property in Canada. They bought theirs for, bought it, you know. So, but you $1.2 million. There's townhouses just down the street from me right now are $1.2 million Canadian. So if I can get 60 acres, a huge chateau, a beautiful, historic place, for $1.2 million, it can go a long ways. Like even for castles in Italy, you can go for castles in Italy, and you can absolutely phenomenal, right? But it's that's the whole thing, is like, when you look at the prices that of what you can buy here comparatively to over there, I'm not there yet to do it. It's a process, but putting it out there, man, putting it out there. And schooling in France is so different too. The thing is with schooling things close down for at least 2 hours for lunch, right? And in for the schooling for kids start to go to school when they're like they have the preschools and stuff like at 4 years old. Some of them, I think they start at 3, but they're not set up like they are here. They're very hands-on and they very cultural, and they also teach them how to eat, which is really interesting. Where in just a regular, say, elementary, junior high, um, for their lunch hour is a mandatory hour to an hour and a half for the kids, and they get an appetizer, they get a cheese tray, they get a meal, and then they get their dessert. So they get a full meal, and that's part of the curriculum. So they learn how to eat, they learn how to really enjoy food and enjoy it, right? And it's like you think that you're eating at a four-star, you know, um restaurant when it comes to a lot of these high schools or elementary, junior highs for kids. It's really cool. Um, and you have to learn to like wine. Well, there's different types of wine too, right? So you have the different areas and that. I mean, there's not only like a white wine, red wine, sweet wines. There's so many different types of wines. And then when you learn how to pair the wine, it's like coffee. When you learn how to pair it, it changes the taste of it. I have had people who've had a sip of black coffee, right? And they take a sip of black coffee and they're just like, "Oh, I hate it. Oh, that's so gross. It's so strong." Then I pair it with something, and then they take a bite of whatever it is, and then take a sip of the coffee. It just taste changes the whole taste of the coffee. And so learning how to pair it and stuff like that, and especially when you have your meals. So it's not just to sort of sit there and drink the whole bottle, although you can do that too, but learning how to enjoy. I think it's just a different way of living too. And that's part of a lot of the changes that are coming into our world, is that there is a different way of living, that this is not just the only way to live. And people really get hung up that, oh, well, it has to be this Western way of living per se, but there's so many different ways of living, right? So many different ways of connecting, and of just being able to live your life. Like when people retire in France, they actually get to retire. That's why there is such an uproar about the changes and stuff, because the amount of money and taxes that they pay into their retirement, so to the government. And so when they retire, they get a good sum monthly for them to be able to live a good life per se, a good way of living. And I've had driving around France. It would be quite interesting. Who's the driver today? And we're all coming out of the van. It'd be great. It'd be great fun. It'd be great fun. Just throw it in the wash. It'll be right as rain. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Don't worry. We'll all have a great time. So, Andrea, let's pull you a card, and then I'll pull Greg a card. So we'll do Andrea first. Whew. Could you? Oh yeah. Okay. No, this one. Okay. So, what do we have? we have the Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands, um, you gotta love him. He's suave, he's debonair, he's got passion, he's new. Like he doesn't have the big sophistication of the king and the queen. He's a knight. He wants to get out there. He wants to find his passion. He wants to ignite his passion. He's motivated. There's a motivation. He has a mission. So here comes this knight, and it's accelerated, and it's boundless energy. So he's smart, he's funny, he has no problem connecting with people. He has this beautiful energy, and he's parent, the king or the queen, or the king or the queen of I don't give a shit, right? We're going to follow our passion. We love what we do. We're going to do it. And this is a knight that's coming in, and he's new, he's innovative. He is stepping into his spiritual self. He's stepping into that spiritual learning. He's not taking anything for granted, and he's moving forward. It is steady, and it's an adventure. It's an adventure. So you're stepping into almost an adventure at the edge of the forest, and you're just starting to step at the end of the edge of the forest. And one of the elements, he knows how to harness and channel the power. So here we have this energy, this beautiful knight coming in, that you are learning how to harness and direct your energy. You're coming in and learning and saying, yeah, this is where I need to go. This is what feels right. This is where, like, everything you have worked towards and experienced, your personal goals and ambitions, you're getting more of a crystal clear pathway of the direction of where you want to go and what it is that you want to do. 2024 is going to be starting to bring you that direction and those openings. This is where you might feel, make sure you like things are, that you're not being rushed. You're doing this in your pace. You're doing it within your energy. If the thing is that he's fire, right? You don't want to start fanning the flame. You don't want to start, making the flame bigger than what it wants to go, because it could explode. It could get out of control. So this is really coming in and not feeling rushed when it comes to getting things done, allowing yourself to really harness that passion of the direction of where you want to go. The pyramids are in the back there, so there's wisdom that is there. There's wisdom that's there, and as you sit and as you allow for yourself to come in, there's an emotional spectrum. Definitely your emotions, can be very abound, can be overwhelming, can be a lot at times, because that passion comes in. It's when, this is when you want to come learning how to balance them, learning how to, all right, maybe I'm a little bit too much there. Maybe I need to draw back. So it's understanding where to draw back with your energies, and as you are stepping forward. So you are coming in and stepping into the next part of your spiritual journey. This is where you are now taking, uh what am I taking for granted at this time? Is there something there that I'm taking for granted, and I just need to sort of step back and sort of reevaluate the direction I need to go into and what it is for me, right? Whatever. So this is really coming into more of a balance and a working with that inner fire within that passion, that energy that you have within you. And so, because if it gets too much, then either you get exhausted, stressed out, anxiety, overwhelmed, feeling like you have too much on your plate. So this is chomping at what it is that you can, and what it is that you need to, and where you can really harness your energy to go forward. So there's a really nice sort of flow with this. And the knight, he is, I mean, look at his horse. His horse has a little bit of an attitude. The horse is a little bit of a diva. It's like, whoo, look at me. But it's a sturdy horse. It's a sturdy horse, right? So he, and he's yellow, so he's bright. He's got passion. So in comes that brightness and that passion, and know that you have the steadiness and the sturdiness of a foundation that's there to help to direct you upon your pathway. So it is stepping into something new and spiritual that's going to really ignite more passion within you of what it is that um my horse has attitude. Yeah. So yeah, just look at that. And he's really holding on to those reins too, and but he's still the direction, if you look where he's looking ahead. He still sees where he's going, and he's still, I mean, he's one hand is controlling that horse, saying, I know what I need to do. I know the direction I need to go into. That's it. Right. So step into that new passion. Know that there's new passion and excitement that's unfolding for you, and this is going to be bringing in confidence. There's going to be restlessness there with it, because it's like, I need to do it. It's like, I gotta, but it's like, got to come back to my grounding. I got to come back to where I need to really direct my energies in a way that is going to allow me to keep my focus. And so you're going to find that coming back and grounding is going to be a big one, because the excitement is there and the boundlessness is there. So there you go. Woo. And I got being self-assured as well. So there's a self-assuredness of like, yeah, this is it's like, there's no doubt in your mind that, yeah, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm creating. So that's really a part of this, the night as well. There's that self-assuredness, which is very much part of it. So, but you got to watch the restlessness and the impatience, because he's young. He's, learning. It's like you're learning, you're learning something new within your spiritual self, and it gets very exciting, right? And it can be a lot. So yeah, definitely. So thank you, everybody, for sticking around. Cynthia is organizing a trip to France for us all in the UK. It's like, do we take the tunnel to go to the UK, or do we take the ferry? And we got to remember, when we get off the ferry, we got to go on the other side of the road. So this next card's for Greg. Ooh. And that'll be my last reading for tonight. Been on here for an hour, so this is fun. Fun. That's okay. My goal is to get the passports and everything next year. So that's a big one. So we have a jumper card for Greg. So I'm putting the jumper card down, but I'm going to pull a card as well with him. So here it is. The jumper card was the Three of Wands, and the Three of Wands did come out before, but this was jumped out of the middle. So Three of Wands is about direction, right? And looking at the direction of where it is that you want. So this is listening to your intuition. So this is about embarking on a new journey. This is pivotal in helping you to make big decisions. What are those big decisions that you need to make? Don't forget, like, this is a treasure and soaking up the love and the magic. So there's something really mutable here. There's a new journey here, but this is also looking like expanding your new horizon. How do you want to expand your new horizon, right? Big drink before my car. And this is where it's like looking at your future, and really looking at your future with clarity, because in comes the Three of Cups. So there's double threes, which is positive, positive. But you go to 3 that's up and a 3 that's reversed. So the cups when they're reversed, it's like, are you enjoying what you're doing? Like there's things that want to come to you, but this is where unhappiness, instability, this is where important conversations have to happen with loved ones. This is where, are you happy where you are, where you're at? And this is to allow for room for fresh perspective and perhaps even establish a new sense of closure for whatever it is that you want. Yeah, this is for Greg. This is where it's like, there's something excitement that's there, and an awareness. There's a higher state of awareness that's there, but are you listening to it? Are you listening to that higher state of awareness? Because in comes the 3 of Cups and saying, well, no, I just would rather wallow in whatever's not working. And there's disputes or there's setbacks and there's delays because we're not setting the goals of what it is that we need to set, of what we need to go and where we need to go. Double 3s are very powerful energy. Like, when we get double 3s, that's very powerful. This is about a threshold of creation and wanting to make a creation. But this is looking upwards and inwards on where it is that you want to go and what you want to do. And when we're not, it's like, ugh, things are, things are I'm not, things aren't going the way. There's an unhappiness there. There's an instability, and you want the stability. You want to bring in the stability. You know what you want. So there's conversations that need to happen within your life, not only your work life, maybe your personal life, with how things are run, how things are got, because you have ideas of what it is that you want, but you're not fully listening to that higher state of an awareness. But you know what it takes to get things done. You know what it takes to get things done. But the thing is, I just get setbacks. There's something that's setting you back, because it's like, okay, this is my obstacle. This is causing me problems. This is causing me a headache. I know what I want to do, but am I setting out on the road that I want to set out for myself and not have to rely on other people? Because this is about closure of things, closure of doorways that are no longer aligned with you, so that you could come to your day-to-day life and relax in the harmonious energies that you need to align with. So double 3s. Let me get my angel numbers up here. Angel numbers. Angel numbers. Close that off. Itchy nose. So, whoa. Double 3s. Don't want that. Double 3s. Double 3s, when they appear, amplifies and magnifies. 3 relates to attributes of expansion, the principles of increase, spontaneity, broad-minded thinking, encouragement, assessment, talent, and skills and self-expression. And communication, manifesting and manifestation. So the number 3 resonates with the energies of the Ascendant Masters and working with the Ascendant Masters. 33 is a master number. So you're a master. You're a master of what it is that you want in your life. So this is about a positive change and projects you are considering right now, and will be well worth your while. So whatever changes that you are wanting to implement, and that maybe that scares you because there's something new that's coming in and you're sort of holding back, and that's the emotions that come up and the what ifs and the anxiety and whatever else that comes up with it, right, is resurfacing. So there's this resurgence of a lot of emotion that comes in, but they're also telling me that 33 gives you the courage to live the life and the enthusiasm and the optimism, and it's safe in the knowledge that you are well blessed, loved, and supported. So this is about living your life with joy, passion, and purpose, as well as manifesting your true desires. So be prepared for, again, this is about spiritual awareness. This is about development and coming into that development. And 33 adds up to 6, right? So 6 has to do, again, with balance, home, family, and the angels, and being grateful for all that you have, right? And having that attitude of gratefulness for everything that you have, right? So the dog is driving me. The dog upstairs they're playing with the dog upstairs, and of course my dog acts up downstairs. So the power is there, and the ascendant masters are there, and that energy of the ascendant masters are very working with you to create that of what it is that you want to create, and what that means. Okay, so there's power. Whatever you want and whatever you manifest definitely is going to happen, and very happen quickly. We know that, but it is pivotal in helping you make big decisions. Afraid of making those decisions. Whoopsie. So of not being afraid to make those decisions. Sorry about that. So I'm getting reconnected here. So I just have to let him know. So that he knows I'm on a call. So yeah, on what it is of the decisions that you want to make in your life. So watch out for your hesitation there, and why you're hesitating, and the reasons why you're hesitating. And because there is something big that's coming in that wants to take you into a higher state of awareness, but take you to, and it's like listening to your intuition and looking upward and inward. So there's a movement that really wants to take you into a new direction, but whatever it is, this is holding you back. Instead of coming out and celebrating, you're not celebrating. There's quarrels, there's upset that's there with that. So be aware of that, but know that also that you have the energy of the ascendant masters that are wanting to work with you. So let me see. I don't know. All right. She asked me a question. Let's see what that number is again. So hopefully that makes sense for you, Greg. Hang on. My dog's driving me crazy. Hey, come here. Come here. Come here. Out. Out. I know they like to play with their dog upstairs, but sometimes I think they do it on purpose just to get my dog riled, but that's beside the point. So you keep on getting the number. Is it, I can look up 55 for you. So that makes sense to you, Andrea? Yeah. I just get and I'm just going to look, I'm just reading something over here. Along with the excitement of the adventure that lies within this card, perhaps you have a wonderful system of support from family and friends, members, that builds up your enthusiasm. Don't forget to treasure and soak up this love and magic. So it's very mutable, and there's a lot of mutable energy right now. Immutable energy is taking huge mutations right now, and allowing those mutations to happen. Just 5s. Then just the number 5 is about non-attachments, personal freedom, the unconventional, individualism, non-attachment, life lessons. learned through experience, variety, adaptability, versatility, resourcefulness, motivation, progress, life choices, and decision. 5 is a message from the angels that important life changes are upon you. 5s are always change. So 5s mean that there is change, but you got to keep your be aware of what you're thinking. The angels ask that you look upon these changes with an optimistic and positive attitude, as they are destined to bring you many long-term benefits. So be grateful for auspicious opportunities that lay ahead. So there's opportunities that lay ahead. There's newness that's coming in. Make sure that you are keeping your thoughts positive, because when you start seeing 5s, that means that there is change that's coming. But you have to keep your thoughts positive. So that's a big one with 5s, because it is powerful. 55 is positive attitude, entering the new, entering your life, and keep an open mind as opportunities presenting themselves. Keep in mind that everything happens for a reason and nothing happens by chance. So even though the reasons for the changes may not be clear at this time, trust that all will fall into place, and these changes have come about so that you can break free from old restraints and constraints. So, and this is part of your soul mission and life purpose. So bringing in your soul mission and life purpose. So there you go. Very powerful. Very cool. Very cool. So sorry, that was Greg talking to you. Yeah, most of it does. So yeah, so especially with the 3 of Cups, when the 3 of Cups is reversed, that means there's quarrels, there's disagreements, because upright, it's the party, it's the connecting with people and things going well. And when you get the 3 of Wands, it's really telling you that about listening to your intuition, following this passion, and it's also about what is it that I want to do, like setting your course, very similar. It's the Admiral. It's setting my course, following my intuition. This is where I need to go. This is what I need to do to achieve my dreams. But my obstacle, or the things that keep coming up, are these quarrels and these disputes and some of the stuff I don't want to be doing, and it just doesn't feel right. So I get, it's like it halters what it is that you want to embark on, or the journey that you want to go on. It's a new journey. It wants to open up. It wants to bring you somewhere different. But there also could be a fear. That's why there's quarrels with inside yourself. Other quarrels come up, and a lot of times when things, especially with a job, when things aren't working on a job, or things aren't coming in, there's going to be obstacles or something that come up. Same in a relationship. If it's not working, things start falling apart around you, and you sort of notice, but you don't want to notice it because you don't want to make the change, or you don't want to make the move, so for it to move on or end. So Roxy, no. So that's the big one. But double 3s are ascendant masters coming in. They're wanting to work with you, your higher self, your higher purpose. And sometimes that's very difficult to, like, well, what is my highest purpose? Because I still got to pay my rent, I still got to do this, and I still got to do that. Having your highest purpose is doesn't mean that you don't work. You still have to put food on the table, and you still have to brush your teeth in the morning, but higher purpose means that you really coming in to follow your intuition. That means you're listening. Your intuition is saying, go left, you go left. Oh, you know what? Let them have that job. That I don't need, I might need that job, but something better is going to come my way. I'm not going to fight, like you're saying, I'm not going to fight over that. I'm going to, what, if it didn't come to me, I'm going to give, that's fine. That means it's not right for me. That means I'm starting to listen to my intuition, and I'm putting my energy into a new way. And that way more will come into your direction. There you go. Whew. hopefully that makes all sense to everybody. So we're getting a bus and we're getting a flight and we're going to France. Yes. But there are, I mean, so I do. I like my chateaus. I'm watching my chateaus. One day we'll put it all together. So and doing it. Oh, you're so very welcome. You're so very welcome. So here we are. Having a fabulous evening. Exactly. It's just across the pond. It's not that far away, is it? It's just across the pond. So I'm going across the pond, but I will show you one here. Hang on. Can I bring them up? Just bear with me, everybody. History. That's my history. Percent. Share screen. Share. So there we go. And we'll make it large. There we go. There we go. So here, this one here, this is, turn you guys around so you can see. So that there is a convent that he's renovating. And hold on. There we go. So that right there, what you are seeing right there, the chandelier and everything, that is the kitchen that they're finishing up renovating right now. And that's the chandelier that they just put up in the kitchen for what they're doing. So let me see if I can. I took it off so I don't. And then they're redoing an old organ. So they brought this organ over and they're redoing this whole organ from England. It's a pipe organ, and they're putting the pipe organ together. So yeah, it's kind of cool, and it's kind of cool watching them put the pipe organ together. Like they've put this all back. It was all taken apart, and they had to put everything back together piece by piece, which is very, very cool. My husband thinks I'm nuts because I watch this stuff. So, but I just find it interesting because it's history, and there's so much history in that. They took, because the pipe organ that they brought it over from England, from a cathedral that it doesn't get played very often. So they're putting it in there. It's a chapel within the convent that they purchased, and it's being redone, and they're going to be restoring the ceiling in the chapel as well. Totally stunning, you know. I'm drawn to Wales and Scotland. Yeah, oh, definitely. I mean, there's there's so much in Scotland as well, in the different areas of Scotland, and that. To go to Scotland, you're best to go in the spring and summertime. Well, spring is a little bit rainy, but the summer, closer to the summertime, so it's a little bit warmer. Because as you're getting into this time of year, it's freezing, it's cold and it's damp. So if you're, it can get which is fine. I guess for some that's fine. But totally beautiful. Like, love to go tour through Scotland and stuff. I mean, to do a lot of that, I mean, would take some time, but that's okay. Could do more than one trip, I guess. Hold on. Let's see. And I just wanna see if I can get the picture of where
two sides of this square no longer have working fairy lights because our darling, lovely little peacocks roost up there.
So that's the chateau that I talked to you guys about. That's the chateau that I watch a lot. And
So this is the old one coming off. Pretty face and beautiful Christmassy red trousers. Once again,
and
this is such an amazing moment. We've been at Lalande 8 years, and for 18 years we've wanted that hole to go, and now there's just this bit left because
this
on the
is
other side, that's it.
the roof of the
Started
chapel,
to be
and
covered
they
in
raised
with the
enough
bricks
money
going on above.
to get
Par là, est-ce que vous pouvez voir? Vous les avez vus comme ça?
Oui, j'ai vu un petit peu, mais je ne pouvais pas voir très bien. Je vais réessayer.
Peut-être faites attention aux deux vis.
D'accord.
Now, think about that chapel. Think about this. That was all hand painted. Isn't that just phenomenal? That was all hand painted.
Je vais essayer. Et voilà les briques. Apparently I can stand on here to get a better view. Here we have the rib of the vault going up. And then just above that, you can see where they have started doing the actual brickwork. There's the old brickwork in the background. And this is the first course. As you see, there were 2 courses of bricks before. So this is the first of the new courses going on. Oh, I am.
So that is so cool. Anyways, I won't. I'll stop the share because I'm going to go drink my wine and I'm going to go watch my Lalande. Anyways, on the ceiling of the chapel, what they're going to do, another way of raising funds, is that you get to buy a star on the chapel, and that star, and you'll get a certificate and everything, and they'll take a picture of the star and stuff and send it to you. So very cool. So the restoration and stuff for that is I can't remember how much, but she puts down how much it's all going to cost and everything, and the scaffolding on the outside, and the whole bit to get the chapel done. So there's a lot that, I mean, since she's started her video log on YouTube, and she started it just before lockdown, and then it took off during lockdown. That's how she's been able to raise money for her chateau in doing a lot of the restoration. She got approved to put the lake back in there. There used to be that chateau, it goes back to Louis the 14th. And so that chateau goes back to Louis the 14th. So it's quite an old chateau, and there's a lot of history there. And just how much acreage that they're there. Now a lot of the acreages around has been sold off. It used to have a mill on it, and that mill and stuff is sold off. Somebody else owns that property and changed the mill and the whole house, into a home. She has, I think, 80 acres altogether, and a lot of it's woodland. And they, a lot of the trees that fall and stuff, they have a guy that comes in, and he has a mill that tows around, portable mill. And so a lot of the lumber and stuff gets reused, and yeah, it's very, very cool to see what they're doing. And they're finally getting central heat put through the whole chateau, which is quite a job and stuff. So, and of course, I've been watching it. I started watching it before lockdown. I sort of came across it and just fell, yeah. And now I am a chateau fan and watching the chateaus on there, and many chateau things have broken off from that one. So it's like, this is the main show, and then all the different ones that broke off from that and are doing quite well. So, but she makes money from her YouTube station, and then she has a Patreon page, and she makes on average from her Patreon page now. She's one of the top in for Patreon. She's one of the top Patreon pages, and she makes, I think, 32,000. That's what it shows. I mean, that's before deductions. I mean, there's a lot of deductions that come off of that, but she makes about 32,000 US a month from her Patreon page, plus whatever she makes from her YouTube. And that goes to restorations, that goes to her being able to pay for gardeners and things like that, and restoring the garden, and things along that line. So very creative, very wonderful, innovative. But now being a video logger, it's a lot of work. I love doing lives because I don't have to edit. But doing what she does, man, there's a lot of editing that has to be done with what she does, and just doing a lot of that creativity with that, and shots and the whole bit. It's very innovative. She's a Leo too, so she's got that manifesting type of beautiful energy of being a Leo, right? And very, you're drawn to her because she's very kind and very real in what she does. And she's 47 and her boyfriend is 25. What a woman, eh? What a woman. So I'll leave you guys on that. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody, for participating. I'm going to finish my glass of wine and get washed up and probably it's 8:30, probably go to bed. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, have a beautiful evening, everyone. May the Lord and Lady watch over each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Thank you for joining, and thank you for being a part of my community. So it's just absolutely fabulous. So it would be amazing to meet her, because everybody who's met her said that the way she is the way she is. Totally authentic and real. So it's pretty cool. And she does a lot. She helps out a lot of people. So it's pretty fucking awesome, right? So have a blessed one, everybody, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. So have a blessed one. Bye-bye.